Virtualization host is next. And by the way, I'm deriving these PC types, these workstation types, I guess I should say, directly from CompTIA's A+ outline. So you do need to know about all of these use cases. Although at the beginning I said you can take a deep breath, that's true, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't learn everything that we're going over here, all right? Just wanted to give you that friendly reminder. Virtualization refers to representing computer resources, stuff like CPU power, RAM, hard disk, and network, virtually through software. So systems engineers and IT professionals are going to use virtualization hosts to buy one or more physical servers that have lots of RAM and lots of CPU cores, and they will host multiple virtual machines. Each virtual machine appears to the rest of the network as a standalone computer, but really each VM, as they're called, borrows RAM, CPU, storage, and networking from its host, you see. The operating system for virtualization hosts, it's across the board. I find it's a good split between Linux and Windows here. The actual software that you use to create a virtualization host is called a hypervisor, and three leading players in that market are VMware, Citrix, and Microsoft. The form factor for a virtualization host is most of the time a rack-mounted chassis, 1 or 2 units high, that you'd screw into a server rack. Potential gotchas with virtualization hosts are things like scale-out. How are you going to go from one virtualization host to more than one? Do you want to consider creating a cluster of virtualization hosts, or just simply create a cluster of the VMs for redundancy? This is especially true for VMware. You want to be careful when you're buying your virtualization hosts, or if you're building them. Make sure that the hardware resources are compatible with your hypervisor. And of course, licensing. Just because you're using or purchasing one physical host, that doesn't mean you don't need to pay for licenses for those 12 Windows Server 2012 virtual machines that you have dangling off the virtualization host. VMs have to be licensed just like regular hardware computers do, although there are exceptions. Here's an example of a rack-mounted server. These are Hewlett-Packard HP, looks like they're ProLiant series servers. They are 2 rack units tall. We'll get into rack units and racks and all that good stuff in the next course when we do networking. But I just want to show you that a virtualization host is almost always used in a business environment, and they look pretty gnarly. This particular example, you see that each chassis has, it looks like, 8 hard drives. Now it looks like there are 3 drives actually installed in the top unit and 2 in the bottom, and the rest of those are blanks. But certainly we have the ability to expand these guys as we build more and more virtual machines to hang off them. By the way, if you're wondering what business benefit virtualization brings, it brings a whole lot. Number one, instead of having an entire rack filled with 12 of these, you can have 1 or 2 and deploy potentially all of your infrastructure servers as virtual machines. So you're able to save a lot of hardware costs as well as energy costs, because these machines can consume quite a bit of energy for sure. And those are just a couple reasons. Virtualization rocks. I hope that if you don't know some stuff about it, you plan to. And certainly virtualization's a big topic in our library here at Pluralsight.